Welcome back to the Charlie Cook Cricket Podcast. Now, we have had 4 pretty good games of IPL cricket this weekend. I'm joined with Andrew from Colourblind Cricket to go through all 4 games. Andrew, we're going to start off with Lucknow versus Gujarat. Probably it's a relatively exciting game, but it almost feels like it's been underdone by the rest of them. Gujarat score 180 for 6. Lucknow then chased it down with 3 balls left, 6 wickets in hand. You had 50s from Saisad Hasan, Shubman Gill, Aidan Markram and Nicholas Pooran, the best T20 batter in the world. Discuss. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely. I think it was Jared Kimber said that there was currently a meeting between Pooran and kind of the legends of the West Indies T20 greats. I think it was kind of he'd heard about this kind of meeting with them and discussing, and Pooran basically like, I don't think I'm going to play like longer format cricket. Can you survive by just playing franchise cricket? And I think it was Kieran Pollard. This is all hearsay, by the way, so it could be absolutely wrong. But apparently Kieran Pollard said that you can, but it's tough. And he's a true product of T20 cricket and the franchise circuit game. Like, I think I was looking down his Crick Info page, and the amount of franchises that he's played and the experiences he's got is just worldwide. And in this IPL and previous IPLs, you can just really see that coming into play because he just seems to know his game back to front. And in this game, he just seemed to kind of look to be in complete control of the bowlers, in complete control of when to attack, when to kind of really go through the gears. He just looks like a cricketer having the time of his life in the form of his life.
His 6 hitting ability is the best I think I've ever seen. Just his ability to hit a 6 whenever he needs to. And you're right, that does give him so much opportunity to just catch up with his strike rate because he knows that he can block 3 balls because he's going to hit the 4th one for 6. It doesn't really matter of how he does it because, I mean, this innings, he scores 1, 4 and 7 sixes. I mean, that's just unbelievable. He's such an unbelievable player. Now, the thing about this game is that Gujarat actually got off to a really good start. It was a really good start from Saisad Hasan and Shubman Gill. They didn't quite get the Joss Buttler runs that they have in the previous games. I think there was a stat that 70% of Gujarat's runs so far have been scored by that top 3. And you look at it and it's probably missing a Joss Buttler 60 off 35 that you kind of grow accustomed to. So it meant that they were kind of 120 for no loss after 12 overs and then finish 180 for 6. It's just not where you need to be. They had to be up around 200. And the one thing that I do like about this Lucknow team is their batting lineup. And to get runs from Aidan Markram, who has been a bit on and off with his form. I mean, even Rishabh Pant scored runs today, and I didn't think I'd ever see that again in the IPL. He's been so poor. They were 21 off 18 balls. It was nothing to write home about. But at least Rishabh Pant... Does he ever get back to normal? Does he ever... Do we see Rishabh Pant before the car crash in T20 cricket? Or?
I think, yeah, we still seem to be kind of missing that incredible flamboyance that he seemed to have had before that accident. And I hope he does regain that form. And I hope just he's now in a different setup. Obviously, we don't know how much the pressures of captaincy are kind of playing a part in that. And kind of, and he's kind of come up and down the order kind of. I think it's just trying to find his place in this team.
I think so.
Just his batting. I think we're still working out in this team where Pant kind of lines up and where we can get the best out of Rishabh Pant. And it still seems like there hasn't been that hasn't been answered.
Yeah, one really interesting thing that Sanko, I have on the podcast, said was that the LSG owners put a lot of pressure on their captain and their kind of star India player. That's why KL Rahul struggled so much last year, is because he couldn't quite find that kind of performance with so much pressure on him. I wonder if Pant going for so much money and those owners putting so much pressure on that star Indian captain that Rishabh Pant is, that's probably not going to help him play himself into some sort of form. Really good win for Lucknow. They are sitting in 4th, so they are just in the playoff spots. I mean, the top four are all split by net run rate now. He's really close up there. Even 5 and 6 are just 2 points behind. Gujarat still sit top. They've won 4, lost 2. I'd be surprised if Lucknow made the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if Gujarat made the playoffs. They were one of my picks from the start and probably still going to be one of my picks. What do you reckon? Lucknow, can they make the final 4?
I think it's going to be a last dash. And I think it will come down to how Puran can continue that hitting form and if he can kind of, and we're probably looking for kind of if Pant can bring himself back into the form with kind of runs. I think those kind of do play a real part. Looking at their bowling, they've been hampered by injuries and still, but still in this game, Thakur, who came in as a replacement, he still bowled okay. 2 wickets, an economy of 8.5, which isn't bad. I've got a talking point. How do you feel about so Joss Butler's wicket? Divvesh Ratty, his kind of celebration. Apologies if I've said that name wrong. I think I've kind of rushed it, but his celebration has been seemed to be writing in the name of the batter into the wicket. Where do you feel on over the top wicket celebrations?
I really enjoy them. As someone who has sledged someone so much that the umpire has had to hold them back from trying to punch me, I'm very much enjoy over the top celebrations. In terms of the writing on the notebook, has it not been done before? Have we not seen it so many times now? Who was it that did it? Was it Marlon Samuels that did it?
We've had this, or was Marlon Sam? No, Marlon Samuels wasn't the. It was another West Indian bowler who was the salute finish, and I liked that was an incredible send off. It might have been Marlon Samuels who did the writing in the notebook, but there are a couple. There was
because then didn't Warren then go at him for something, and then Virat had something to do with it as well. He started doing it when he scored a 50 or so. It's just been done before. Okay, I know that cricket has been around for 200 years now, but can we think of some new celebrations? Okay, Imran Tahir. Incredible every time he takes a wicket. Okay, I enjoy it every single time. The notebook, okay, that's fine. I don't mind a send off, but let's think of something slightly more original.
Another unique one that I love, another South African bowler, is the Shamsi, the phone call, the taking the shoe off phone call. Imran Tahir and Shamsi seem to both bowlers who I think have nailed down the celebration. But it's got Digvesh in some trouble because he's been fined a couple of times. Yeah, I think I read that he's been fined a couple of times and he's just decided to keep doing it.
Wow.
Whether the past kind of it's been signing it into the book a bit close to the batter and there's been a bit of argy-bargy, I'm not too sure. But I did think I saw that there's actually been some ramifications for these celebrations. That's why I brought it up, because he just seems to have done it again.
Fantastic. Moving on to Punjab Kings versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. What a game this was. Punjab Kings scored 245 for 6, and Sunrisers Hyderabad go and chase it down with 9 balls left. In what world have we got to T20 cricket where 245 is probably 30 runs short? It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous game.
I love the comment of Crick Info's Matt Roller. He said halfway through that kind of it's a flat track, just go have a go. And that's exactly what Sunrisers Hyderabad did. Two colossal scores.
I mean, so the Punjab Kings mainly most made up of Shreyas Iyer, 82 of 36. Carry on his good form. Stoinis at the end scores 34 off 11 off Mohammed Shami. Shami ends up going 4 overs, 0 for 75, which was
the office, isn't it?
It was very close to Jofra Archer's. What was it? 0 for 79 he had against Sunrisers this year. It would have been nice for someone else to take that wicket rather than Joff to take that record, but obviously not. Where the kind of innings went downhill Would Hera's 27 off 22. I mean, in a game where 492 runs were scored in just 240 balls, striking at 120 probably isn't going to get the job done. It sounds ridiculous, but it's just not. That 22 needs to be at least 40 that you're getting from that, not 27. And then Sunrisers made him pay. Abhishek Sharma, 141 of 55 deliveries. One of the best T20 innings I've probably ever seen. Now, I know that he was caught off a no ball and he was dropped, and things like that have to happen.
You've got to ride your luck in T20.
It's like when Harry Brooks scored a century when England's backs were against the wall when he was dropped 7 times by New Zealand. I'm like, yeah, no, but you still got to be there. You still got to score runs. You can't just hit your stumps after because someone's dropped you. Doesn't matter. You've got to go out and do it. And Abhishek Sharma did that yesterday. What a ridiculous knock. He's so, when it fires for him, there is no other batsman I want to watch in the world because you just know that every single time he hits the ball, it's going to go for 6.
He's just incredible. And the way it just seems to look so naturally, batting-wise, up there with Travis Head. They kind of an incredible opening partnership that was, let me just double check the notes. Yeah, 107, I think 117?
171.
71. Insane. Just an insane. I think I've written that right in my notes and think, no, it can't be 171. Opening partnership.
Both 12 overs.
Off 12 overs, both of them just insane hitting, look very comfortable. Yes, the drops, but in other days. But the thing is, you in T20 cricket, and especially this Sunrisers Hyderabad lineup, they bat like you've just got to go out all at it, and you just got to you ride your luck and you just keep going. He another over the top celebration with him, kind of a salute to the Orange Army with the notebook.
He pulled a note out of his pocket. Do we actually know what it says on the note? On the note,
it said something like, "I did this for the Orange Army," and then there was a bit of debate in the kind of press on whether he had. I think Travis Head said he'd had the note in his pocket for 6 games, and then I think Abhishek Sharma said that he'd actually just written that this morning. Whether I'm not sure actually which one was the truth of the matter. But incredible. He's an exciting young Indian batter to see. And it's brilliant to see him kind of batting with such aggression. The holding point is that in another incredible win, but it still seems to be that this Sunrisers Hyderabad team can only really kind of do it on really flat decks. And they're still on the lower end of the table. Do you think that they really just need to kind of, I don't think they're going to change their form, change their approach or aggression. But do you think in the long run, this is going to pay off to be a good kind of run to the playoffs?
No, I think that it's going to be incredible, like it was yesterday when it comes off. However, it's not how the IPL is now moving. Last year it was, we'll score 270 every time. Well, the bowlers got a little bit smarter now and know how to not go for that many runs. If you get a pitch like this, it's going to be a shootout. And when it's like this, they'll probably win quite a few games. And also, if you're another team, are you giving Sunrisers a flat pitch to play on? I'm not. I mean, even if that isn't beneficial for my team and they like a flat pitch, well, guess what? The Sunrisers are going to want a flat pitch more than you are because that is their only way of playing cricket at the moment. Again, I talked to Sank, he's a Sunrisers fan, and he says, it drives me nuts because there is no plan B. If it all goes wrong, they're going to be all out for 120. There is never, ever a point where someone says, oh, well, maybe I should just dig in and we'll try and get up to 180 here. It's 250 or bust with them. And I think they're going to struggle with that because I do think the bowling's got better and a little bit smarter. I think that's where Sunrisers are going to struggle.
One point that I want to make is IPL iconic player Glenn Maxwell has not been having the greatest time. We talk about the 122 strike rate of Wade. And I think he's fairly kind of young Indian player, so I do like him, and I think he probably in this incredible game his strike rate probably does look quite slow. I think it is compounded by the fact that then Shashat Singh comes in and kind of takes 3 balls, only gets 2 runs and gets out, and then Glenn Maxwell takes 7 balls, only scores 3 runs and gets out and finds another way to get himself out. It's tough to see such an exciting player would seem to be really struggling at the moment in his franchise.
Yeah, so his last 2 IPLs, I'm just trying to work out his average, because it doesn't look good. Whatever it is, it's 6.6. 6.62 he is averaging in the last 2 IPLs. That is 13 innings and he scored 86 runs. A high score of 30. He's had 4 innings this IPL so far. He's had a high score of 30 and he scored 34 runs. At a strike rate of, last year was 120, this year it's 109. I just don't think he's that player anymore. I don't think that he's got that ability to go out and, I mean, it's going to look really stupid because he'll just do a Glenn Maxwell at some point, whether it's this IPL, whether it's in a big bash, whether it's in an Australia game. He'll just go out and he'll play ridiculous innings, and it's like, well, okay, yeah, how long can I wait for that ridiculous innings? I can't say it's going to come eventually because it hasn't come. And to be honest, it's never really come in the IPL. His IPL stats aren't amazing. It's an average of 24 with about 155, which the 155 strike rate sounds okay, but batting at 5 or 6 most of the time. I mean, you want it to be 200 if he's averaging 24. It's significantly worse than all of his other kind of T20 franchise stuff. And if anything, you probably get more with the ball from him than you do with the bat. A little bit like with Liam Livingstone. Liam Livingstone, I think, is the perfect example of, he's just Australia's Liam Livingstone, and Liam Livingstone is England's Glenn Maxwell. They're very similar players. Okay, Glenn Maxwell's probably done a bit more.
That's a very good comparison. I like that in terms of all round who can bowl spin. I agree with you, and I think I've just looked at Punjab's lineup in terms of their kind of all rounders. You've got kind of Omazai, you've got Aaron Hardy, you've also got Josh Inglis in that team in terms of batting talent. All those 3 names in terms of overseas players that you think, if Glenn Maxwell, how long you give him to potentially play one of those innings is. And I think looking at that Punjab squad, they'll be in the hunt, like Lucknow, like a couple of teams that we're going to talk about later, for those kind of lower playoff spots. And I think it's a long IPL, and it's how long you kind of hold out on that decision before you think, right, we need to make this switch to actually give that new player coming in enough time to kind of have impact.
Yeah, I agree. I would personally, I think you've got to bring in someone like Omazai. That's going to really struggle with me with a cold. I'd have him in. I mean, he was so good in the Champions Trophy, and then all of a sudden you put him on ice coming into an IPL to play Glenn Maxwell and Marcus Stoinis. I mean, 2015 again. I mean, we're just wasting our time, aren't we? We're just picking players because of their names. They haven't performed. I know Stoinis gets 34 of 11 that he scores, but I mean, if I look at his IPL stats last couple of years. He's averaging 19 at a strike rate of 147 this year. Last year was a bit better.
From memory, last year he's kind of moved around in terms of his role. I think he's gone up a kind of, his role seems to be a bit more solid of what I think he can produce, in terms of now he's down kind of the lower order hitter role. And I think it's weird because Stoinis seems to, in all his franchises, seems to move around where people want, and he hasn't kind of chiseled out a role that he's always doing. So, But I think Omazai has got to come in at some point. Like as we said, I think it was the first time I've ever been on the podcast, was that kind of incredible knock against England. So you've got to kind of play off that hot form. And if you kind of have overseas like Glenn Maxwell not necessarily performing, you've got to look at your other overseas and think, right, there's Glenn Maxwell might come back into the squad, but right now we need to kind of work out how we start winning games.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a real struggle for them. I guess the one thing that you will say is, are they lacking a spinner if they don't have Maxwell? I mean, Maxwell got through 3 overs for them this game. He's often 2, 3, 4 overs a game. You could, if you bring in Omazai, then you are lacking in a spinner, and bring in another left arm seamer as well. No, is he left arm seamer? He's not, is he? No, he's right arm seamer.
Right arm. So yeah,
It's
that's that. I think that's As I love that when a podcast turns into you working out plans in mid kind of conversation, because I think that's probably one of the reasons why Maxwell might be kind of given a couple more games, because his spinning really he gives them that with the ball, and kind of they hope that the batting works itself out.
Yeah, I mean, which is probably the same reason that Liam Livingstone hasn't been dropped by RCB yet. We should probably move on to the Rajasthan Royals versus RCB game. Rajasthan Royals score 173 for 4. RCB chase it down in 17 and a half overs. Phil Salt goes nuts at the start of the innings to chase down. He scores 65 off 33. He's been in really good form so far in this IPL. Again, similar to some of the players that we've talked about before, he's a little bit shit or bust. No, the other way round, or whatever it's meant to be. He'll either struggle or he'll score runs. That's what I'm trying to go for. Rajasthan just didn't bat quick enough. Their batting lineup isn't deep enough for them to trust to just go out and attack. They had Hasaranga penciled in to come in at 7, which probably feels like a place too high. We're going back to them screwing up the auction again, like we do every time we talk about Rajasthan, unless it's Jofra Archer bowling really well, and then I'll speak about England players because I'm biased. That was kind of the tail of the tape, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think just looking down, it looked a bit slow from Parag, and kind of Jaiswal had a kind of an exciting innings, but then it seemed after that nothing else seemed to happen. We kind of, if you look at the Gujarat, it might be a bit of an unfair kind of comparison, but Shafane Rutherford didn't really have that explosive innings that he needed to do at the end there. And then moving into this innings, Shafan Hetmeyer kind of 9 off 8, a strike rate of 112 off and 1 boundary. It's you've misfired in your role, and that it's a hard thing because, but the thing is, you see players coming in and like Tim David, he didn't do it in this game because he wasn't required to bat, but he's come in games, and it's that hitter role that it's really tough, but you really have to be kind of, if you're paid the big bucks to come in and kind of, you're only given a finite amount of resources to hit those runs, your strike rate is really going to be needing to be high. And I think that's why that kind of that Hetmeyer innings looks a bit feeble.
Yeah, I mean, when you spend so much money on a player like Hetmeyer, those 8 balls at the end of the innings that you ask him to face need to go for 20. That's kind of where it needs to be. Now, if they would have scored 185, this still gets chased down in 18 and a half overs and not 17 and a half. However, does it make everything look a little bit different? Does Jarrell go with him a little bit quicker? You just don't know, do you? I think they were always going to struggle with that middle order, just not having enough all-rounders in their side. So their batting really tails off because you've got Jofra Archer coming in at 8. Even when you've got an impact sub, is just ridiculous. That's just far too high for Jofra to be coming in at that point. In terms of the bowling, I thought Jofra bowled quite well, but it was Virat Kohli again. I think I said this in my review on TikTok, and said that he is the chase master because he's never makes a hard chase look easy, but he'll never make an easy chase look hard. So if he's got Phil Salt got him off to an absolute flyer, and at that point it was relatively a walk in the park. If you lose 4 wickets all of a sudden, it then becomes difficult. When you've got Virat Kohli at the crease, that never quite seems to happen. I think that's what he's so good at. Now you can say, oh, it's 62 off 45. He struck at 137. And you can go and do all the kind of nerdy stuff with strike rates that often people do with T20 cricket. But he didn't need to. Him and Padikkal both kind of ticked along at 140 strike rate and saw the team home, done exactly what they need to do after they had someone attack at the start. For me, that's the perfect chase for a score around 180 in T20 cricket now. If you're chasing 280, it's a different story. You've got to go from ball 1. But it's playing the game situation and doing it properly. And I thought that's what RCB are doing quite well. Are they winning it this year? Can we say that they're winning it?
The thing is, they've won another game away from home, but they're still struggling at home. I think that's 2 losses at home, and it's still kind of the curse of the Chenaswamy. Like, if they need to get some it in sport. It's you seem to, and obviously you've got that incredible home kind of support in the Chenaswamy. But has there ever been a story of a home venue being so like tough to kind of maintain a really positive winning record at? And it's an interesting point, because kind of reading into the Royal Challengers kind of struggles and stuff, and it's kind of inflated by the fact that they have such a passionate fan group. They have Virat Kohli, and it's I always kind of think about, there are 2 other franchises who have never won an IPL, but Royal Challengers, it seems to always be the problem, because they have kind of so much kind of noise around them. But it's if they can crack winning at home, and that's a crazy statement in professional sports to kind of think that winning at home is a struggle. If they can crack that, I think they have a really good chance. Just again, a load of kind of low key like performances. Like Padikkal plays his role perfectly. And yeah, I'd agree with you. And I love the nerdy stuff in terms of data analysis and looking at kind of the Virat Kohli bats too slow. In this instance, when you've got Phil Salt just striking just under 200, and you're in a kind of facing a bowling attack that really kind of doesn't have a lot of identity, and it doesn't have a kind of, if Jofra Archer doesn't pull something out for you, there's not a lot left. I think they used 7 bowlers and they only took 1 wicket. Also, the fielding, like if you're in this kind of battle, 3 drop catches, especially, and it's another one in terms of Phil Salt kind of ran his luck and it did really well. But 3 drop catches, you're never going to win a kind of high professional game of cricket if you're doing that. So
No.
Royals not helping themselves, and I think Challengers just they need to be winning at home. If we can work that out, we're fine. Like, we're going to go into the finals and anything from happen from there. And I still back them. I still think they're kind of, even their fringe players, like Kunal Pandya removed, kind of broke the opening partnership, which was really key. So there seems to be little cameos like that, as well as the big headline acts. So I'm kind of still pretty confident that they can do a finals run if they can crack winning at home.
Yeah, no, I agree. Moving on to Mumbai Indians versus Delhi Capitals. Mumbai Indians score 205 for 5. Delhi Capitals are then bowled out for 193. The way this game finishes is one of the most bizarre things I think I've probably ever watched in my life on a cricket field. There is 3 runouts in 3 balls to finish this game off. Delhi need something like 14 off the last 9. It's 15 off 9 they need. 7 down. They've got Ashutosh Sharma at the crease, who was obviously part of the run chase against who was it? Lucknow at the start of the season.
Yes, I'm
I
pretty
think it was
sure.
Lucknow now. Going back, there's been a lot of IPL
Yeah,
games.
they come thick and fast.
Yeah. And so you think, okay, Delhi should walk this over the line, but no, there's then 3 run-outs in a row. I'm going to start with Mumbai Indians before we get there. It's just a really solid batting lineup.
Mm,
I really like it. I mean, okay, Rohit worries me a bit at the top
yeah.
of the order. He's still not quite in great form. But
Mm.
Ryan Rickleton, Surya Kumar Yadav, Tilak Varma, Hardik Pandya, and then Will Jacks coming in at number 7. He scored 1 off 1, but I'm very excited about that because we are still making Will Jacks into Moeen Ali at some point in our lives. That's going to happen.
That's the key.
Mm. Tilak Varma's 59 off 33, probably the highlight of the lot. But Rickleton get him off to a good start as well.
Yeah, I think just looking at that, it's good to see Tilak Varma kind of, because a couple of games back, he subbed himself out after scoring too slowly. So it's good to see him.
Well, I think that was more Hardik more than anyone.
Yeah, okay.
Let's be honest.
Well, even so, that must take, as a kind of premium batter, that takes a knock to your confidence. So
Yeah.
it's exciting to see him kind of back and scoring fluently. And that kind of Yadav Varma kind of Verma backbone partnership really kind of solidified things. And then I think it's interesting, a couple of fielding errors, a couple of drops. Last ball overthrow, it seemed a little bit messy from Delhi. I think kind of the feeling of, there was some incredible fielding as well. I think Aksar Patel threw himself at one to stop a boundary. That was insane. But there were a couple of just a little bit sloppy things, bit miscommunications in the field for Delhi that kind of then Mumbai set themselves up with a pretty strong total. A really great finish from Namdir. Is that how you say his name? Or was that something correct?
I think so.
Yeah,
Namandir.
that was. I don't know a lot about him, but a really exciting finish. So Mumbai at the halfway line, kind of halfway, feeling pretty happy with themselves. Yeah, the second innings, Delhi seems to be completely on top. Karen Neer, incredible 89 of 40. His story in terms of going in and out of IPL favour, kind of coming over. I think he played for Northants for a bit. Insane story about how he's kind of gone from kind of not being anywhere near the picture for a good number of years to then coming back in. But it's just it seemed comfortable, and then it all seemed to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean that Karen innings was unbelievable, and what, as you said, his story. I think there was someone dug up a tweet from 2022 today of him saying, "Cricket, please give me one more chance," and he's really getting that chance now. He was at Northants for a bit. Some say that he was inspired by Northants asking Lancashire to follow on today. Obviously, a big watcher of the County Championship must be. In the 50 over domestic competition, there was a point he was averaging 600 this year, because he played 6 games, scored 500s, all of them not out. He scored like 600 runs in 6 games, and he got out once. He was ridiculous. He's just a ridiculous player in some really good form. There was talk that he should have gone to the Champions Trophy, didn't quite get there. But now he's getting his chance in the IPL. It's good to see, and it was some knock. I mean, I think there was a stat that no one has hit Bumrah for 2 sixes in one game before.
Oh, that's a good stat. Oh, I love that.
And Karen Nair is now the only person to do it.
Oh.
Or it's either it's never happened before until today, or it hasn't happened in like 10 years. I can't remember the exact stat off the top of my head.
Literally, down in my note, I've written, took down Bumrah. Incredible. Just, yeah, you can't kind of underestimate that. But then it kind of felt like it switched back their way. Now, Karen Sharma is a name that I think not many kind of casual fans of the IPL or kind of casual cricket fans will know. I did some research on him. He bowled some great spin. He's been in 4 franchises, a bit of an IPL journeyman. This is his second spell at MI, and he bowled brilliantly, taking. I think he wasn't there at the end with the runouts and stuff, but he took the important wickets of KRL and Stubbs, really kind of put Mumbai back into some kind of driving seat. An incredible innings from him.
Yeah, no, unbelievable. And then we'll go to the three runouts at the end. I couldn't work out what they were trying to do. I kind of got the Ashutosh Sharma one, because he obviously wanted to get back on strike. And then I didn't really. I mean, you've got Mitchell Stark at the other end. Mitchell Stark can hit a six
Massively.
we've not got Tufnell at the other end. It's not. We're not worried about it. And I mean, the biggest one was the Mohit one. Mohit was trying to take strike at the end. I'm like, why would you run a single off the last ball anyway? Okay, you've got one run, fantastic. You're now on strike, and we'll need to get another single at some point to get Stark on strike, because he's the only one that could probably win the game now, because you've gone through two stupid runouts. But no, you just went with three stupid runouts anyway. God knows. One of the most bizarre finishes in a cricket game I've ever seen. There was people calling it a thriller. Was it a thriller?
I mean, it's a bit poor game management, isn't it? It's just a bit. It's a confusion, really.
Does it count as a thriller if we just kind of never quite got to the run chase bit? Like it was building up to be a really exciting over of like 13 off the last 6. And you think, okay, yeah, great. Well, that's going to be incredible, that chase. But no, they lost all their wickets. They were bowled out. It doesn't count as a thriller at that point if it doesn't even go into the last over. Just a very, very, very strange game. In terms of the table, we are looking at Delhi Capitals still. It's their first loss, isn't it? It's the first time they've lost.
And I think looking at it, we'll kind of. I hate to be negative, or do I hate to be negative on the Australians? No, I do hate to be negative on the Australians. I'd see, but it's the Australians in white ball cricket that I enjoy kind of seeing exciting Australian players. And it's another struggle for Jake Fraser McGurk. And I think it's this last IPL seemed to be really exciting for him. This seems to be a bit more of a struggle. Is he in a similar position, do you reckon, to Maxwell in terms of it's kind of boom or bust, really, in terms of how many games he'll play for this? He's not in the luxury of being at a franchise that's now top of the tables, but it'll be a little bit different to kind of Maxwell and Punjab situation. But do you still think that that's a lot of pressure on a young man, and do you think he'll be playing next game?
No, you have to drop him. I was trying to work out today. How low is the level of cricket I need to play before I would pick Jake Fraser McGurk in my side? And I got to Surrey Premier League, I think is where I'd maybe think about picking him.
Gosh.
If I had a Blast team, I wouldn't pick him in the Blast.
Really?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. What does he benefit? Great. You're going to try and slog every ball and you're going to be out in the first over. Okay, fine. I want a player that will slog from ball 1 in T20 cricket because I need to take advantage of the power play. But if you get out every time, it doesn't matter. The only time he scored runs is when he didn't slog.
It's a tough one with that high intensity. He comes off the back of a pretty. It's interesting to where the kind of auctions move to now. That actual fact, he comes off the back of a pretty rough Big Bash as well, and he wasn't selected for the Australia stuff. I think he'll be trying to work stuff out, and I think the kind of and that's why we kind of full reflect back. That's why Nicholas Pooran is so good, because he has been able to have that incredible high intensity, and as well batting outside the power play. He's been able to kind of have that high intensity for a lot of his career. But he's maintained that high strike rate, and the kind of Fraser McGurk story kind of shows how hard is it to really kind of be completely know your game inside out, that you can sustain that incredible striking and incredible high strike rate.
I am going to give you his stats. So franchise cricket in 2024 to 2025. This IPL so far, he's averaging 9 at a strike rate of 100. The Big Bash over the winter, he averaged 18 at a strike rate of 138. Major League Cricket, he averaged 11.57 at a strike rate of 126. And in the T20Is that he has played so far, started in 2024, he has averaged 16 at a strike rate of 143. For me, that is not an IPL level quality player. That's a very, very big sample size now. And you can say that he is out of form or was in the IPL last year and in that Big Bash the year before and in the 50th, the Marsh Cup or whatever it was, that he burst onto the scene because he scored 150 off 50 deliveries. Was he just in the form of his life and now all of a sudden he's actually this player? Okay, because I didn't expect him to come into this IPL and average 36 at a strike rate of 234 like he did last year in the IPL. But there's got to be a middle ground, and that middle ground cannot be 9 at a strike rate of 100.
It's interesting that he's in the franchise that is kind of table topping, and they'll be looking at how they can stay there. Obviously, lost today, it doesn't kind of one loss out of kind of a number of wins doesn't change as a whole team fortunes, but there will be question marks, and it's interesting to see how he seems to be in that sustained low, and kind of he's an exciting player to watch. But yeah, it's how long a franchise, especially an IPL, which is top franchise cricket, how long people sustain. Well, how long a coaching group can say you need to kind of, you're not performing, and we need to work out how our batting kind of can perform.
Yeah, I don't see it turning around. I think he was in an unbelievable purple patch for about 6 months last year that got him through the Australian winter into the IPL, and since then he has been awful. And because there is only that 6 months to back it up, and you've now been bang average for 12, I just don't understand how anyone can say it might come off. If, for instance, say if Delhi are chasing 270 in a game, I can see the idea of bringing him in as an impact sub and going at the top of the order and saying, well, if we don't get off to a flyer anyway, then
there's no point.
We're in trouble. There's no point of someone just going out there and scoring 20 off 15. So we might as well send Fraser McGurk out, and he'll either get 0 off 3 or he'll score 50 off 10. But you don't see the 50 off 10 at all with him at the moment. He would be a worry. Delhi are still second. They lose their first game. Mumbai climb up to 7th. It would be interesting if they could make a push. They're only 2 points behind 5th, 4 points behind 4th. Their net run rate isn't terrible. They've been in some close games. So if they can go on a bit of a run, I'd probably fancy them more than the teams below them. So the Rajasthan, the Sunrisers, and CSK to make a push for that playoff spot. But I think that is the IPL weekend pretty much summed up.
What a weekend!
There's been some decent games on, and it's been very, very hard to watch it all because the PSL started. So I've watched 3 PSL games. I've had 9 county championship games on, and
the multi-screen has had to come into effect. Very hard, I can imagine.
Yes, the wife's left me. She's taken the kids. She said, no, you can't just stare at a screen all day watching 13 different games of cricket. That's a ridiculous thing. So maybe there'll be more videos now.
Absolutely.
But guys, thank you very much for listening, watching the podcast, wherever you get it. Remember to check out Andrew, Colorblind Cricket. All of his links will be down in the show notes or the description. We'll be back in the week as long as I don't die of another illness, which is why we missed the first week of the County Championship roundup. But we will be back for week 2. Some pretty good games in that as well. And if there is any IPL stuff, I can't remember what the games are next week. If there's a big one, we will be back for a recap of that as well. But I will see you guys in the next video, probably Tuesday or Wednesday for the County Championship roundup. But I'll see you then.